morning. Welcome to another Sunday morning sketch. This is Eric Whalen from Super Secret Project X. Not for extreme, just the mystery element of it. Anyways, this morning, strangely enough, I felt a need to explain that. I'm not sure why I did that. Anyways, this morning, in the new sketchbook, I'm still geeked about there being a new sketchbook. I figured as long as I did the princess from Dragon's Lair, I would do Kimberly from Space Ace, which was the, as I recall it, the second game in the kind of series of animated arcade machines from the 80s animated by Don Bluth. I don't recall who actually did the machines, but so I'm going to do Kimberly because I dig cute retro space chicks. I think that's a reasonable thing to be geeked about, personally, because she's sort of ridiculously adorable, which was really what the 80s were good at, I think. Anyways, for those who do not know Princess Kimberly, I don't know if she's a princess now they think, but she's definitely hot space chick Kimberly. Oh, she is. She's kind of adorable. She was yet again the goal for a square-jawed hero to go save. I mean, it wasn't like Genius Games or anything, but they sure were fun. And I think what was funny about Kimberly was that she was more involved in the storyline of the game, and she was really, the shtick of the game was you had like, I forget his name, was like Herman or something, but it was like this little space doofus, and he looked like he was maybe 16, like 13 pounds soaking wet holding bricks. And then he would get like all pumped up with like a sci-fi space energy, and he'd turn into a big square-jawed hero with all this muscle and stuff, and that guy would go out and rescue and save and blah. So he has to go save Kimberly. Well, if I recall correctly, in the game, whenever he was kind of out of mighty man juice, whatever the stuff was that pumped him up, she would end up kind of fill in the blank, and the two were kind of awesome, because in Dragon's Lair, I believe it was Dirk the Daring went to go save the princess, and she was basically just at the end of the game. Kimberly, I recall being very much in at least half of the game. She was just sort of a lot of fun. She was more action-y, she ran around more. I think the animators were like, we need to show the hot chick off more, you know. So I recall her having like rolling around on like sci-fi roller skates with a laser gun, shooting like robots and stuff. Overall, I liked that character quite a bit. Never did have a chance to actually play the game a whole lot because I was a little kid at the time and I didn't have a whole lot of money. It was like $1 a play, if I remember right. It was ridiculous, but.
Don't we have that DVD?
I have the Dragon's Lair stuff, but I don't have the Space Ace stuff.
No, I thought that was all like one.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was like the entire collection put together. It was all the Dragon's Lair.
Let me relook at that. Maybe Space Ace was in that pack.
Because remember, it was that we were looking at it, and it was that the weird, really tough part where they were going up like piano key steps or something. Wasn't that Space Ace?
I remember it had multiple Dragon's Lair games.
Right, it had Dragon's Lair 1, 2, and 3. But I thought it had Space Ace because I'm remembering that really bizarre level that they were going up piano keys like stairs. And
Maybe.
I thought that was Space Ace.
Maybe I'm just blanking on it. I'll go and recheck that because I would like to watch that stuff again. Because you know what? Now that you're saying it, I think you're right. I think Space Ace. Well, I should go and watch that again. Those were.
Yeah, we have them and we can play them, or we can just watch the entire thing going through. Because I think when we first bought it, we actually watched all of them. We were just like, how did anybody even beat the games as fast as they were flashing at one point?
Especially Dragon's Lair 2, which was the most absurd thing I had. Okay, for the people at home that don't get it. These arcade machines would run animation, and when the screen would flash, you would have to make a decision, move forward, attack, blah, blah, blah. If you chose the wrong one, your character died. If you chose the right one, the animation continued on. So there was moments in some of these where we're watching just the animation without playing the game. And it's like, animation, flash, flash, animation, flash, flash, flash. And you're like, how are you supposed to do... These games must have made hundreds... I mean, they were total quarter suckers. They must have just made hundreds of dollars. Because they made in and you had to make an absurd number of reactionary like decisions, and it was so easy to choose the wrong one or get the wrong pattern. But yeah, neat games, but total quarter suckers. I mean, there's no doubt in.
Very fun, very revolutionary in its time.
Yeah.
Love me some Don Bluth. Still do. Really great characters. Animation. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to post comments under our page here, and it won't let me post under our page, so let me post as myself.
Okay, say that again, sweetie.
I'm trying to post on our Facebook page telling hello to everyone who's watching, but it's not letting me post under SSPX. It's letting me post under my own Facebook page.
That's probably because the live feed is running, maybe. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
It's been a time before when we've been doing that.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
Oh, weird.
I'm trying to figure out why I'm doing it.
Facebook is probably just glitching.
Knock it off, Jerome. Knock it off.
Oh. Sorry.
I'm teasing.
Yeah. One of the things I like about Kimberly's designs, and I don't do it very much, but they have a much greater space between her eyes than you typically see on characters. And it looks really cool. But it's typically a spacing that you don't see. Typically, the average spacing is usually roughly one eye in between each of the eyes. So that's kind of what it sort of on average is on humans. But this is like greater than. This is like 1.5, almost, not quite 2 eyes distance between the eyes. It's going to throw me off a little bit. It's one of the shortcuts I use on characters is these one space between the eyes. I think it's why she kind of looks extra sort of ridiculously cute. She's got those kind of exotic angled eyes, extra spaced apart, with like sort of the kind of round cutie nose.
Usually when the eyes are spaced further apart, it actually makes you more
Say that again, sweetie?
It's funny because usually when the eyes are spaced apart further, it's usually a sign of lesser intelligence.
Yeah, or like creaturely something. But with this, they used it, and she just looks adorable. Take a little bit getting her face right. Don Bluth's stuff is usually drawn a little differently than I'm used to doing myself.
It's been a while since I looked at the Dragon's Lair Space Age designs, and looking at Princess Daphne, I think I can now see where Dr. Girlfriend's outfit was inspired from.
Yeah.
Or Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch outfit, at least.
Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch.
Yeah.
I need to go in and do more Dr. Girlfriend stuff. She is super fun.
Yeah, she definitely grew on me as a character. I didn't really. When I first watched it was angering me because the voice versus the character design was really just disconnecting for me. But now it's like I can't imagine her without the voice.
Oh, I loved her from the beginning, but the longer I kept watching Dr. Girlfriend, the more I really loved that character. She's just super fun. She's one of my favorite villains of all time, and as just characters go, she's just wonderful. Because in actuality, she should be running everything, and it's so clear in the story, which is why it's so funny that, well, she's like the biggest feminist statement like ever, you know, which is why she's so funny and why the monarch is such a doofus. And I mean, I love the monarch, but you're like, oh God, dude, seriously. If you didn't have all the money, she'd be running the show. But yeah, it's funny. I just I love the characters like Kimberly here. She's just a really cute design, and admittedly, she was in like one thing, being a video game. I'm kind of glad we've progressed further than her at this point with characters. That still doesn't take away from the fact that she is a super cute design. Man.
Did you remember watching any of the Dragon's Lair cartoon when it was out?
When I was a little kid?
Yeah.
Okay, this tells you what kind of a horrible nerd I probably still am, but was even when I was a little kid. I wouldn't watch it because Dirk talked. I mean, I remember actually watching the Dragon's Lair cartoon for the first time as a kid and actually being angry at it. Because, that's what was so funny about him in the arcade game, was that he never said anything. He was making all the noises and stuff, but you never, you know, he was just, you know, this sort of, I don't want to say empty character, but it wasn't about him saying stuff. And when the Dragon's Lair cartoon in the mid to early 80s, whenever it was, I don't even remember. I just remember as a little kid just never wanting to watch, because after I watched like the first episode and he was talking, I just, for some reason, that really ticked me off. Which is so weird, right? I mean, it's like not that big of a deal. Man, as a little kid, that really...
No, not really. The story was that you saw him as the hero, and you wanted him as he was, pretty much, with the video games and all that. Andrea Romano, who, of course, we know is the voice director for pretty much anything that we watch and love. When she was a kid, she said that she would actually get mad and wouldn't watch any cartoons when she missed the opening theme song. Like
Yeah,
if the cartoon opening stuff, if she didn't catch it, she wouldn't watch it at all, because that was part of her, that was her thing, that was part of what she would do. So, everybody has theirs.
Yeah, she's got this cheek and jaw line that is just giving me a tough time. Maybe I just need to get the nose in. Yeah, I think I need to get the face a little bit more, and that'll help me with. Okay, bring that nose size down a little bit. Yeah, this is. Rescue the proportions here on her. This isn't right. Maybe I've been talking too much. too far. And not out enough.
I know you're drawing Kimberly, but I think I have to admit, Princess Daphne was the first time I saw nipples on a cartoon.
I know it was mine. You don't forget stuff like that as a young boy.
As a young kid, well, at least for me as a young kid in general, I was like, wait, are those for nipples? It's a video game at that. It's like, whoa.
I think that's how they got away with it. You know, they didn't have to deal with, like, the TV censors at the time or whatever. Yeah, because, heaven forbid, children see the things that are sitting on their chests.
It's not those things.
Okay. Yep, she's giving me some fits, but I'll get her figured out. Kimberly from Space Ace gives me fits. Yuck, yuck.
The honey glow.
What now?
It gives you the honey glow.
She's got... I love that sound. You rarely hear that. It's the page right above the cover, so it sounds like almost sounds like I'm sculpting the sketch. Scrape, scrape, scrape. What now?
In a sense, you are sculpting
Well.
the sketch.
Let's not say that. I don't want anyone to get any pompous thoughts about my artwork. I hate when people like overthink what I do. I've always hated when people like quiet so the artiste can work, and I'm going like, no, let's not go down that road. I'm just doing cartoon characters. And you always don't want to, because it's like some people might get offended, like, oh no, I'm trying to compliment you. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be. Thank you, but I'm just sketching chicks. You know, like I don't know about the rest of that.
Well, if you ever come back to the Space Ace franchise, you need to draw the bad guy next time. He has some great characters.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. He's sort of like a super space Bluto.
Yeah, and he's blue.
I also realize I haven't done Jessica Rabbit and a whole bunch of other really great characters. I'm going to be at this probably forever, which is going to be nice. I want to hit a ton of characters before I even come back and try doing the same characters again.
I'm trying to remember. I think I might even have it. There was a Space Ace and Dragon's Lair comic that came out a few years ago. And
Maybe.
I think I have them somewhere. Crap, who did those? Arcana Comics. They released it. And I think I do have them somewhere. They're in the collection long boxes somewhere. And they were pretty fun. They weren't anything revolutionary because I don't remember much of them, but I do remember grabbing them because, hey, Space Ace and Dragons.
Well, it's tough doing revolutionary things because if you go too far, it'll cease to be what the original thing was.
Well, I meant revolutionary as in, like, it was a really great story. They kept really close. Like, it didn't do anything that made me go, holy crap, this was a really good Space Age story.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is if you take it too far away from it, some people would get ticked off because it doesn't resemble the thing that they really, love. I'm not saying that they can't do that. I'm just saying you always risk it. It's like the last Star Wars movie. They did a couple things slightly different, and Star Wars fans lost their butts. It was ridiculous.
They're always going to be angry with Star Wars fans. I hate to say it.
Oh no, it's a fandom. That's what fandoms do. They try to protect stuff, and then realize that they're strangling their own loved thing. And
we want new stuff, but not that kind of new stuff.
yeah, so we want grand, new, wonderful. No, just like the thing I've already seen, exactly like that, but new. Like really?
And then you do get it. Why is this so much like the old thing?
No, not like the first thing, but new. No, not new, like the first thing. Yeah, it's... Yeah.
Hopefully I'm going to find more information. Apparently Don Bluth with his crowdfunding, which I remember I have been reading up on that, trying to catch a bit more information on that. Apparently he wants to do a Space Ace short film.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, at Dragon's Lair, too, would be... Either of those licenses are...
What he's trying to do, he's right, from what I understand, they're crowdfunding for the Dragon's Lair movie is still going right now. Let's see, on October 26, 2015, let's see, a Kickstarter was started, a Kickstarter campaign was created for a teaser for an animated feature-length Dragon's Lair prequel film, their first feature film since Titan AE. The Kickstarter funding was canceled when not enough funds were made close to the deadline, but an Indiegogo page for the project was created in its place.
Okay, say that last sentence again.
The Kickstarter funding was canceled
That's a shame.
when not enough funds were made close to the deadline, but an Indiegogo page for the project was created in its place. On December 14th, 2015, the Indiegogo campaign reached its goal of $250,000 to produce a teaser 14 days after the campaign launched and got more than twice the budget on January 16, 2016. Bluth and Goldman have announced that the film will provide more backstory for Dirk and Daphne, and that Daphne will show that she is not a quote-unquote blonde airhead.
Well, yeah, she came off as like a total, like, fluffy playboy kind of centerfold type, which was, for the purpose of the game worked. Mm-hmm. But for the purpose of anything other than the game, yeah, that would not fly so well. She'd just not be very interesting for very long.
Well, they made her a bit more stuff in the cartoon and gave her a bit more.
The one that I never saw.
Yeah, exactly.
So there.
And in the comic, I remember she was also a bit more capable. was that Dragon's Lair 2? They had 13 kids.
And they did the Disney thing where it just looked like tiny versions of them.
Yeah, all the girls were blonde, all the guys wore black hair.
I believe they all had little helmets too. Alright. As I realize I haven't zoomed in a while, zooming in now. Which I should have done earlier. I'm terrible at that. Alright, now I'm paying attention. I got a little bit more hot bean juice in me. There we go. Yeah, it was bugging me for a bit. Her construction was just killing me. Now I think I've gotten something that looks about right. There we go, that's better. There. Just not feeling so chatty this morning, I guess.
Long week. Long weekend.
It's been a bit of a long weekend, you're right.
Guys, I think we spent all of our chat coins earlier this morning talking about stuff.
Yeah, well, that and last night. We had dinner with friends last night, and it was all wonderful and everything, and we had a chat this morning. I think I'm all out of chat juice. Is that the fuel that makes conversation? Chat juice.
Like I said, spend all the chat coins earlier.
No, chat coins are good too. Chat coins probably sounds less nasty than chat juice.
think it's something to talk about. We don't have to talk about.
Well, I think the problem we have on this one is very simple. What I mean, outside of unless you're a space haze historian, I mean, I like the character and the property and all that, but it was a action video game.
Yeah, it wasn't really much to it because there wasn't any story aside
From running.
Well, yeah, it was it's what is what it is. What
Yeah.
you say, but it wasn't a multi-chapter discussion of what the other. Like I said,
Super cute design though.
Oh yeah, absolutely, loved it. I just wish Don Bluth would get as much recognition, or we should say more recognition than what he does, because he did quite a bit of his work. And,
I think he always gets overshadowed by Disney.
I mean, he was an ex-Disney, he's an ex-Disney animator, so he stepped out on his own. And so it's like he's one of the few guys that made a name for himself with a lot of that stuff. And unfortunately, his name always gets shadowed by he worked under Steven Spielberg with the properties and stuff that he worked with there. But it's like, yeah, he's recognized and he gets recognized, but I wish he was a lot more recognized. I mean, for goodness sakes, the Kickstarter didn't get funded, but the Indiegogo did, which is good. But the fact that Don Bluth couldn't get a Kickstarter funded, that's almost blasphemous in my eyes.
Well, to be fair, I believe he was asking for a very large sum of money.
Oh, yes, he was. But once again, Don Bluth didn't get his Kickstarter didn't get funded. Well, I've seen people who, like celebrities who basically do nothing. I've seen people who don't really do much of anything get way funded for more than that. And so to me, it's like a guy who's actually part of American animation history should get a bit more respect, because I'm glad his other campaign did get funded, and I'm glad to hear that, but there should be a lot more to him when it comes to getting things out, and he shouldn't have a problem getting the things that he needs. It's like Glenn Keane, he's pretty much making his like next probably 5 generations are covered when it comes to stuff, and he was a Disney animator, retired Disney animator now, and wonderful guy, wonderful, absolutely beautiful work, but it's like, again, around the same age, if I'm not mistaken, it's like, he's getting all his recognition and stuff, and Don Bluth, yeah.
Yeah, well.
Words are hard this morning.
I know.
It's all the good food we had yesterday, all the steak and the cookies and cake.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little logy. Little logy.
We're not used to that stuff anymore.
No, not even close.
Somebody made a meme with Daphne and Dirk. Simply says, "Get laid or die trying."
That's basically what that game was about, yeah. It's hard to deny that. Yeah, it's a real shame that Don Bluth's doesn't have, like, I don't want to say necessarily a Disney-sized studio, because that's asking a lot. I mean, Disney-sized studios are huge. But it's a real shame that he doesn't have just a studio and hasn't been fairly regularly producing work. I mean, to me, if he did something every 3-4 years, that would have been great. But what, Titan AE was 2005?
That was before then.
Was it? Like,
yeah, because we were still in Grand Rapids when that came out. I want to say it's like early 2000 or something. Look it up and find out.
yeah, you're okay. Yeah, I think you're right.
2000.
Oh, well, at least I got the first number right. I think I need to design a character kind of based off of how her face is put together. She's got a super adorable face. This face outdoes, we're not talking about my face, I'm talking about his original face. Outdoes most of the Disney princesses. She's a super adorable character. And gives quite a few Japanese super adorable characters a run for their money.
Going for 42 minutes.
Now she's going to end up being a kind of a quick one then, because I'm kind of getting pretty close to kind of done with her. I want to clean some stuff up, but yeah, it's not bad. I was worried at the beginning, is that jawline and her facial proportions were throwing me a little bit. I think I can take some notes off of this eye spacing. It's like really super adorable. That's not bad. It's a decent start, at least. I think I might have gotten a little closer than Daphne, that's for sure. Yeah, I think she turned out a little better. All right. Well, there you go. I sketched a thing on a thing with a thing. Blah, blah, blah. What now?
The thing at the place.
Yes. While sitting on the stuff. All right. Well, everybody, have yourself a good week. I'm gonna do my Mr. Rogers bit. Why don't you be my neighbor? If I can Tetris this box. There we go. Come on. Get in there. Almost do it. Almost do it. Do it. Did it. All right. All right. Well, everyone have a good one. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Oh, hey, Andy. How's it going? How you doing? Have a good week.